Alright, welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're going to talk about my updated umbrella and nameless sword build. I don't want to go too crazy in depth, especially if you've seen my previous video which goes over a lot more of the basic concepts. I sort of want to more talk about the changes and especially just more or less cover the gear today. And if you want the nitty gritty on how things more specifically work, my previous build guide, which will be in the description, is perfect for that. This video is going to mainly focus on just explaining my gear and some basic thought processing, and most importantly I want to have an updated animation cancel segment at the end and also have a bunch more PvP highlights at the start so you can see how the build performs. So again, this is my umbrella and nameless sword build. It very heavily builds on the sort of hybrid concept. We have ranged and melee at your disposal, and of course you have all the CCs that come with umbrella that we really like and a lot of people hate versing. So of course we have Vernial Umbrella, Nameless Sword, and again this is assuming you already understand the basic concepts about the game. On the inner ways we're rocking Moral Chant, Battle Anthem, Sword Morph, and Blossom Barrage. In my previous guide we didn't have Blossom Barrage and we actually had Wildfire Spark. Now Wildfire Spark is still fantastic, but it is going to be a PvE in a way. So when I'm doing PvE, I'll either put this on or I'll put a new one on, Evasive Charge, which is really strong in PvE as well. After a perfect dodge, there is a 70% chance to refund 100% of the endurance consumed. Breakthroughs on this one would get really nice as well, especially the last one, which is going to take us a long time to get to, increasing the duration of invincibility by dodging and wind dodging by 20%. So basically a longer iframe is really strong there. In a ways, these three are going to stay the same, both PvE and PvP. But the main change from my previous video, especially as we get closer to in-game, well, we are in in-game, but we're in early in-game, just tier 61, tier 56, sorry. This is insanely OP in PvP. If you've seen the highlights at the start of the video, it makes my Spring Sorrow stun ability have double charges. And when you get this upgraded later on in the game, it becomes 3 charges. And that's right at the last 7th tier here, or 6th tier, which is going to take a long time to get. So you might also notice in PvP, I lean more into the umbrella. And in PvE, I lean more into the sword. The sword I still use a lot in PvP, but the CC and ranged damage output from the umbrella in PvP is so exceptionally strong. When everyone else is fighting in a clump, you just get to sit back and basically shoot people, which is sort of my favorite gameplay style. And it also requires aiming. The aiming I will talk about later, but it has a very weird gimmick in this game where you kind of have to aim a little bit to the right, as it doesn't go directly to your crosshair. It's a little bit weird, and I'm assuming this is due to it being a true third-person aiming playstyle. It's something you just have to learn. It's fine. Yeah, these are the main 4 inner ways, and breaking through these is obviously going to make them even stronger. Sword Morph allows us to make our sword get the extra charges on our charged attack, which is really strong. So as you can see, when we do that charged attack without doing that, it just does 1. Oh wait, no, it does 3 because we're out of combat, but in combat they would only do 1. But because we have that in a way, and because we have that in a way upgrade, it's a level 2, I think I have it at. It allows us to get the ability without even needing to do the full combo. You can do the full combo, but you don't need to. You can just, and we'll talk about this later, you can just go like bang into an animation cancel and then do that. Again, we will have a more dedicated section to animation cancels as there is a lot of them. Mystic skills are probably some of the most important things in PvP and PvE. More emphasis on these this time around compared to my previous video. We have Meridian Touch. Allows you to do a quick dash in combat to the enemy, and also allows you to get a finisher if someone's trying to evade you. We have Dragon's Breath, just a 15% reduction, basically like grits, I guess is the best way to put it from New World. And then you also basically deal a fire damage dot, which is really strong. Yeah, Tenacity I think is what grit's called, by the way. There's some weird translation in here, but Tenacity in short term is grit. And yeah, this is really strong. Gets even stronger when you upgrade it. So I think we're at breakthrough tier 3 right now. I don't have all of my mystic skills at tier 3 right now because I have to farm the mats for it. Serene Breeze, obviously our CC break, must have in PvP. A 4th one here, Drunken Poet. This is a new one in my rotation. Basically, we enter an intoxicated state, and this buffs our Dragon's Breath. The easiest way I can show this is you can see when I cast this ability, we drink a potion, then we do it. But if I need to go and get some... Oh, that's annoying. Need to go and get some vitality, hang on. So basically, now that we have more vitality, if I use my Drunken Poet, and I still need more vitality, I can now instantly cast my Drunken Poet if I press it. So you can see that I don't need to drink that pot that I previously did beforehand. We can also tie this into an animation cancel. I'm getting slapped around a bit here because I need to showcase stuff, but let me get a little bit more vitality, just enough so I can do another Drunken Poet, because the full combo you can tie an animation cancel into. So I can go in for Drunken Poet, I can pop my Breeze, and I can press Deflect and instantly animation cancel out of my Drunken Poet, which is sort of the full combo here, which is pretty strong. And then again, if you need to go in for a finisher on an enemy, you can use your Meridian Touch. So that's sort of the full combo there. It's pretty strong, and I really like it. That's sort of one of the biggest changes in terms of gameplay rotation. Onto the gear tab, I guess we can jump onto now. We've actually entirely switched our weapon and pendant set bonus. So previously I was on the Willow set. It did buff our sword damage, but it was very conditional. With the new set we're using, which is the Jadeware, 4-piece Jadeware here, we basically just deal more affinity damage. And affinity damage, if you didn't know, is basically a Giga crit. And that's something I want to explain as a pretty important system in this game. So you have precision, critical, and affinity. Crits, we know what crits are, crit damage. Then you have affinity. Affinity, in the easiest way I can explain it, is it's a Giga crit. It has an even larger crit bonus, effectively, affinity bonus rather. So as you can see, affinity attacks will deal 35% more damage. So yeah, we're basically buffing our infinity damage a lot with this set, and it deals some pretty big damage numbers. Now you will notice that this doesn't proc much on the umbrella. This is more for our sword, which leans into the hybrid setup of utilizing both weapons for their uses. Umbrella being our main hand, also not our main hands, our main use for utility. CCs with that Spring Sorrow, where we can go in for that CC there, just like that, and that actually went to that enemy over there. And that, again, we get 2 of those charges using that in a way. You can close that gap. You can't use the sword charge on elevation, which is really annoying. But yeah, you can still use range with the umbrella, and it still does really good damage, is I guess in short what I'm trying to say. So yeah, that's our 4-piece weapons here. We use that Jadeware set. Then for our armor, we're still using the Form Bend, which I used in my previous video. This just extends our shield. So doing our full R combo, or whatever this is on your setup, I said it's R, we get this shield, and that just lasts 2 seconds longer with this set. Basically, it's an HP damage reduction. It's very strong. It's just going to make us extra tanky when we need it. And it's also obviously going to allow us to do our charged attacks as well. So it's just really good to lean into that. When we need a little bit more survivability, when we also want to pump a little bit more damage, and we have the option to build up a full combo. Bows and whatnot we don't really talk about too much, unless it comes to the brand new Toxic Arrows, which I actually don't have any of right now. But yeah, Toxic Arrows is going to be the main thing you will use in 1v1s and in bounty hunting and some GVG stuff, like in Prison Break, I believe you can use it. It's going to reduce healing by a significant amount. And I highly recommend Toxic Arrows. Again, I don't have any myself, but I plan to get these. I need to work on this, actually. Toxic Arrows are really strong, is the short way I can put it. If you don't have Toxic Arrows, you can just use Fire Arrows, and that'll add another little fire dot, which is kind of useful. Basically like another Drunken. It's not as strong as, you know, Dragon's Breath, but it's up there, right? So yeah, I recommend it. I recommend, you know, if you're engaging, do a quick little, you know, this is kind of like what the full combo would, I guess, look like to some extent. But yeah, that's sort of the flow through of the build, and I guess we can get on to tuning, which is something I didn't really talk about in my last video. Tuning is basically, I guess, perks in a way. It's just like small stat increases that are RNG rolls. If you've done the tuning system, you know what I'm talking about. It's important to do tuning, and as you can see, I got a really, really nice pendant. I got pretty lucky with this pendant. I think it was also the gloves I got pretty lucky with, yeah. If you don't know, there's damage types in this game. You probably already know this, but again, there might be some new folks here that I do want to explain for. There's basically 4 different damage types in this game. You have Bamboo Cut, Silk Binding, Stone Split, and Bell Strike. If you're from New World, in the shortest way I can put this is it's like having thrust damage, slash damage, and strike damage. It is pretty much exactly what it is. Stone Split is like your tank spec. Silk is like ranged. Bamboo Cut is like, I guess, melee, like fast melee DPS, I guess, like Twin Blades. And Bell Strike is sort of more general melee. So we lean into Bell Strike for the most part, but it's also okay if you get tuning rolls that have Silk Bind. Ideally, I prefer min-maxing my Bell Strike damage, especially when it comes to PVE. But for general case purposes, it's okay to have a little bit of both. If you get a Bell Strike and a Silk Bind, it's fine. You know, I have been buffing my Umbrella. As you've noticed, my final upgrades aren't ninefold. The ideal damage tuning you want, though, is min and max physical attack. Now, if you're wondering what the difference between min increases and max increases are, is you effectively have 2 different, I guess, damage states in this game. You have a minimum floor and a maximum ceiling. So I guess where's a way I could showcase this? Is this it? Yeah, so 429 is our floor damage and 833 is our base ceiling damage. And whenever you hit an enemy, you have a chance to basically be in this range. Ideally, you want to be at your max, and to be more towards our max, we need to increase our minimum and reduce that floor, if that makes any sense. It's not to say you don't want any max either, you kind of want to balance it. I generally think it's probably, in my opinion, this is a little bit early to say, and some will probably correct me on this, is 2 parts minimum to 1 part max, I feel like would be the ideal range. So you're still raising that ceiling a little bit, but you're also bringing up that consistency by raising the floor. That is basically the gear in, as a whole, the set bonuses. The tunings I recommend on armor, max HP being probably one of the better ones. Physical defense and defense are also fantastic as well. And for the last one, which is, I guess, your specialty enhancements, which use the pendants. So I think I haven't done it on these ones because I don't have them. For the paths, you can go for Bell Strike if you're more of a PvE player. For PvP, I think Silkbind is better because we do lean into Umbrella a little bit more in PvP. And it's not the end of the world for PvE. PvE is not exactly too hard in this game when it comes to group content. If you don't know hit runs and things like that, it's a different story. So yeah, it honestly comes down to the play style you have. Do you lean more into the hybrid for the sword or the hybrid for the umbrella? Pick your poison from there. I'm not giving you a set path. I'm just giving some recommendations based on what I use, and that being me leaning more into Silkbind for PvP, sorry, for PvP. Of course, I do prefer using my sword for PvE, but again, it's I'm a more PvP inclined player, so I find that more important to me. Obviously, enhancing, you already know about this. You just get your oscillets, your other currencies, and you upgrade it. You get it to max level every time. Now, the new system that we unlocked with this new tier 56 breakthrough is Divine Crafts. These buff your effectively enchants. If you don't know what they are, they're the little toxic powder. You have fire and you have water, and they all have a different use, and I personally recommend different ones for different content. For PvE, fire is just going to increase your damage. It's going to give you a fire dot, and when you upgrade these, we can't get the full upgrades yet as they are reliant on breakthroughs. You can get the first upgrade though, and it's just going to increase your damage by a little bit basically. Yeah, so increase HP damage by 1.2% and apply a burn. When these get fully upgraded and we get the full breakthrough unlocks for these, they get pretty decent. So as you can see, we get a small burst fire attack when we get node 2. Node 3 is going to increase the duration of that burn. Next one is Divine Craft Water. This is really good against, I think it's shielded enemies for memory. Personally, one that I don't find myself using too much. Yeah, so it's against shielded units. But if you do find yourself versing a shielded unit, I guess you could use it. But the main one that I use, especially now, is a bounty hunter and a PvP main, is poison. Poison is So strong. And obviously we have poison arrows to reduce healing, but poison here is going to also apply a poison dot to the enemy. And the node 2 for this one is insanely strong. So execution deals damage more than one time during this effect. So as you can see, poison is quite a strong dot to have active all the time. And the nicest thing that I haven't really mentioned yet is with umbrella, my tab, I don't know what it sets you for you guys, but the unfading flower, when we set our umbrella up into the sky, activate poison. So we're basically casting poison on our umbrella, which is active for 30 seconds. You release this, and this is just going to AoE deal poison for us. It's pretty fucking nice. And yeah, so I highly recommend using this. And yeah, that I think pretty much covers the entire build for now. There are some small things I want to mention in regards to material farming. Just from my experience, if you're having a hard time upgrading your mystical arts, you need to farm the materials out in the open world. So especially once you've run out of the mystic skill boxes, these are limited. You will eventually run out of these, especially tier 3, tier 4. You'll really notice this drought is you'll have to actually go out and start farming the flowers and stuff that drop them in your own time. And the important thing to note about this farming, as you can see, I've got a lot of the resources mapped out here, is these are on a 24-hour cooldown timer. There's one really cool caveat to this. They are on a 10-minute cooldown timer in online mode. So you are now incentivized to go into the MMO mode and do your farming for your mystic art breakthroughs. And I think this is kind of cool. It introduces you or gets you out into the shared world and sort of brings in that sort of MMO element that I've so dearly missed, especially that it's gathering, it's relaxing, and you're just, seeing other people run around doing the same thing. But this also, most importantly, brings in another social aspect. People can absolutely hijack the resources you're farming. Just like in any other MMO, it's not instanced in the shared world like it is in your solo world. Now, do I also recommend getting your solo world materials every day if you have the time to get them? Absolutely. I think it's very worth it to do that. And it's going to help you, especially if you're facing a lot of competition in your shared world. It could be worth. Now, there is a small TLDR here, and this is additional content, by the way. If you just cared about the build guide, you probably don't care about this, but this is just tips and tricks I'm giving for gearing and upgrading. Now it comes on to a efficient way to get materials. Now, I wouldn't call this pay to win, but I would call this pay for convenience and more on the heavier side. So if you didn't know, mounts in this game come with perks. Now, they're not like power perks, they're convenience perks. So as you can see, the Spirited Corsair perk, which I think cost me like $30, comes with a pedal collection perk. And it says exactly, or does exactly what it says. After using the skill, the horse will automatically gather nearby resources within a certain range. This is extremely OP. It's around about a 10-meter radius, and you don't have to go near and pick up the material. You can just press that button on your mount. Again, I don't think it's necessarily extremely pay to win, but it is absolutely pay to convenience. And I think that is the important thing to note here. So, some of these people around here might just naturally be picking up these materials. But if I know there's materials in the area, I can simply just hit the button. It looks like someone's already perma-farming these resources, so that's kind of unlucky on me. They're hardly contested, but you can get other shards. All you need to do is basically switch between multiplayer and solo mode to get different shards, where someone might be, not farming the materials in the area. So I'm just getting extremely unlucky. There's a lot of people around here that are farming mats. I think all of these people here are actually farming mats. But yeah, we're not getting anything because it's already farmed. It's perma-farmed here. Again, get your solo mats. And if you really want to, get the mount so you can just press Z and pick up the mats. I think it might be easier for me to show how strong this mount is in solo. So as you can see, I just picked up 4 wild fruits by pressing Z. I was not even close to any materials there, by the way. We could go up over here, and we can even see this flower right here. I could be over here, and it's going to pick it up, which is pretty insane. It's around about 10-meter radius, and you can just pick up any resource in the area. So yeah, you can see, you know, that's quite far. And the craziest part about this is it ignores elevation. So if there's like a material up here, it's already picked it up. Yeah, quite OP. And that's how I'm able to gather my daily mats so fast. As you can see, it's paid for convenience. It's extremely OP. Pretty much talk about in this video, and I guess the one thing I want to talk about is the animation cancels next, as I almost forgot that actually, is there's some pretty complex animation cancels we can do. So with our tab, we can actually press it and then instantly press parry to cancel out of the animation. So if I press tab and then press Q, you can see I instantly cancel out of doing that full flip animation, and that allows us to get a quick wave attack off, but most importantly, we tie that in a way that gives us the ability to do a triple charged attack without using melee combo ability. So we can go like this, right? We can go bam into a charged attack, and then, well, I accidentally cancelled it, into a triple charged attack like so. You know, I could probably do a full one there. That was a bit sloppy on my regard. And then we, of course, have the Drunken Poet one that I showed earlier. I don't know if I have enough vitality for it right now, but we'll see. So we go like bam, and then we do Drunken Poet, and then we deflect, and it instantly applies the dot. We don't have to complete the animation. And there's a better one at me showing that other one too there. There are some other ones you can do. You can animation cancel weapon swaps pretty well. Or weapon swaps into abilities, sorry. Using the deflect. The deflect pretty much animation cancels so much shit. It's kind of crazy. You know, attacks, weapon swaps. Yeah, it's useful. And their main one for sword being the block. You can also kind of do it with the umbrella here. You can do a charged attack, and then you can instantly parry out of the rest of the animation. Applying poison, you can also parry out of it. So you can animation cancel everything. The full poison animation is quite long too. So it's actually really nice to be able to instantly animation cancel out of that. So you can just go bam. And the same for umbrella, right? Oh, we still have poison on this. Yeah, that is pretty much all I wanted to talk about in this video. Again, I hope that explains it. It ended up being a more complex video than I even wanted this to be. I guess I just have a way with making things explained properly, and I can't avoid that. I can't do simple guides. I like doing in-depth guides. I like explaining everything, my reasoning behind things, giving context, clips, and perspectives on things. And I also want to say that this is not the only way. I'm sure there's better things for this build, but this is the way that so far I've found comfortable to share, where I can PvP at a high level and feel comfortable in scenarios. And I think that's the most important thing. Does the build work? Yes, it works. Is it the most optimal? I'm not sure yet. But is it a solid build so far? Yes. Anyways, with that said, with my yapping coming to an end, I will leave the video off here, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.